ready to get this show on the road.
The catchphrase of all catchphrases. For that defense that was number one all year, arguably with the Patriots, for them to allow Mahomes to get in the game, it's not going to be good for you. And what I stressed the whole year was the fact that the Chiefs could beat you in 2 plays. It only takes them 2 giant plays to beat you. And they had that 44-yard completion on 3rd and 15, like you said, which was the big play to spark the comeback, punch it in. And I just think overall it was bad game management, like you said, with the clock.
Yeah, I mean, the
offense was non-existent in the second half.
They had Mahomes where they wanted Mahomes.
Exactly.
It's very rare that Mahomes struggled. I saw a different Mahomes in the Super Bowl that I ain't never seen. I'm like, this dude is actually shaking in his boots.
Yeah.
I seen a lot of passes that were overthrown, that was thrown to the ground. I mean, 2 interceptions that was just terrible passes, throwing behind the wide receiver. I seen all that. I seen Mahomes. But then also, to Mahomes' credit, I seen Mahomes be patient. And this is where I'm going to use my Deontay Wilder analogy in this conversation because, you know, I'm a big boxing guy. And Deontay Wilder's last fight against Luis Ortiz, Wilder's known to be that knockout artist. He's coming for the knockout. The Chiefs, they known to hit the big play. That's the knockout blow. But in that fight against Ortiz, the latest fight, Wilder said, you know what? Ortiz is very dangerous. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to set up my knockouts. So if I got to, you know, tank a couple rounds in order to get my knockout, I'm going to do so. And that's exactly what Wilder did. And he got the knockout with the Chiefs. Mahomes said, all right, there's nothing down the field. You know, we normally a big play team. We throw it down the field, Tyreek Hill. I mean, all these wide receivers. But you know what? It's not there. They covering up well. Let me scramble, get a first down, and keep the ball moving. Let me give the ball. Let's run the football and let him make plays like he did and keep it moving. And then 30-15, we catch them sleeping and napping like it's a daggone nap time in kindergarten, and we hit Tyreek Hill down the field and we get the big play. And that's exactly what the Chiefs did. And you know what? It worked.
And hey, I'm glad you brought that man up, Damian Williams, because in my opinion, Leel, the way Mahomes played the whole game, for him to only heat up in the 4th quarter like he's Russell Wilson, because he should have been there the whole game, it's a Super Bowl, I could argue that maybe Damian Williams should have got the MVP. He had 104 yards with 17 carries, 131 yards from scrimmage, 2 total touchdowns, one of them was a receiving touchdown, and then obviously that big 4th and 1 play where they threw it back to 1946 Michigan's offense where the running back takes a direct snap and guns it in. So, you know, I would have gave it to Williams, in my opinion. But, I mean, you can't discredit Mahomes because he did keep it together in the 4th and was able to get it going. Which, by the way, Leel, youngest ever to win a Super Bowl and the youngest ever to be a Super Bowl champ at age 24. So, shout out to Mahomes.
I mean, also over here, too, you know, Richard Sherman. I want to get into Richard Sherman because, you know, this guy was called out by Darrelle Revis after the game against the Packers when Davante Adams literally torched the brother like fire. I mean, just torched the guy. And, you know, they went into a little feud. Mm-hmm. But after what I seen yesterday, Darrelle Revis is 100% correct. Outside of cover 3, when you get out of that little system that they run on defense, Richard Sherman is not the same guy. He cannot go toe-to-toe and guard you one-on-one in his shows. I mean, Sammy Watkins, it was a move where he juked him. And you know what I'm saying? He showed up. Richard Sherman didn't. And like I said, he got torched. He got torched on a deep post route.
And in that one play, I think you were referencing, Tyreek Hill when he did that fake.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he was pivoting. He bopped Sherman on that play, and I agree with you. For all the smack that Sherman prides himself on, you know, granted, you got to give him credit. What do you have, 39 interceptions total through past 2 years or something like that? You know, he leads the stat category in a lot of stats for cornerbacks. You got to give it to him, but for him to talk all that garbage and not show up in the biggest game, I mean, that shows a little bit about you, man.
It's easy to talk a lot of smack when you with your homeboys. But when you by yourself, one-on-one, you start shaking in your boots. You don't know your name anymore. you start shaking, and that's exactly what it was with Richard Sherman. The brother was shaking. I mean, he was on an island. And when he was on the island, he couldn't do nothing. He couldn't stop nobody. So, hey, like I said, Revis came out and called out Sherman, and Sherman didn't back it up. He did not back it up at all. And that's another reason why, you know, the Chiefs was able to find success. And another thing that I want to get into in this game is, you know, listen, man, I'm not a big conspiracy guy, and you know I don't want to make it seem like I'm
Here we
going
go.
into a conspiracy. But you know what? There's a saying: if it looks like a spade, we're gonna call it a spade. And ladies and gentlemen, I made this very clear in a video that I did. Right? Is that look? I don't buy into conspiracies. I don't buy into, you know, things being rigged and stuff like that. But I do buy into referees making certain calls at certain times, maybe to benefit the team. I mean, we can say that, right? Yeah. A lot of people come at the Patriots. The Patriots got a lot of calls. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it the whole season. But I want to point it out in this game. Because honestly, here, I seen a lot of reps who were in favor of the Chiefs in this game. Now, granted, the league do want to make the Chiefs the new dynasty. And as they, you know, should, because dynasties are the best thing in sports. When there are dynasties, the ratings go up. Stats show that, whether it's the NBA or the NFL. When there are dynasties, ratings go up. So I can see why, you know, the refs wanted to make certain calls, you know, all this Mahomes talk. But let me dive into these plays. I mean, I thought they could have called a pass interference on the Chiefs. There was one play that I thought was a clear pass interference on the Chiefs, and they did not call it. I saw a helmet-to-helmet hit on Jimmy Garoppolo. That could have been called. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these plays are bang-bang. You know what I'm saying? It's not obvious. A few of them are, but some of them are bang-bang. But in a league where they generally favor the quarterback, you would think that hit to Jimmy Garoppolo, which could have been a bang-bang, that's normally a flag.
You talking about the late hit?
It was like a hit. You know, when he threw the ball, and, you know, exactly. And then they had a touchdown by Williams, which, to me, clearly the brother foot was out of bounds. I mean, you didn't need Stevie Wonder to see that.
See, the problem with that call is, like, they already ruled it a touchdown. So if that was a close play, that was like an inches type of play. And that's the reason why I think they kept it as it was, because when it's that close, you know, it's not conclusive enough to overturn.
I mean,
but
you got a referee right there. That's what I'm saying. I can understand if it's coming from a back judge, but it's a referee right there. He should have caught that. I mean, that was clearly, not a touchdown. You know what I'm saying?
That's the problem. If it's ruled a touchdown on the field and it's that close, it's really hard for the booth to overturn. But I agree that they should have picked it up immediately.
The pass interference on Kittle. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's not a terrible call. He did push off a little bit, but I seen worse. I seen Rudolph, who we talking about here, Rudolph on the Vikings push off in overtime against the Saints. That was far more of an obvious push off, and guess what? They didn't call it. So I seen a lot of stuff that made me scratch my head, and you know, and that's what I got to say. I mean, I didn't see a lot of calls go against the Chiefs. I seen a lot of calls go against the 49ers. And that's one of my takeaways in this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest thing is, you know, while some of those penalties should have been called or shouldn't have been called, I just think overall that was terrible game management by Shanahan. The Niners pretty much dominate throughout 3 quarters until, give or take, the end of the third. I mean, the offense really, Jimmy G did not show up. I'm just going to put that out there. Jimmy G didn't show up in the biggest moment.
He didn't.
And that cost them, because the Chiefs defense, they're going to come out, and they're not even known to be a good defense. They come out and they harass Garoppolo in the later half of the game and allow Mahomes to get cooking, and that's where my issue was. And also, like I mentioned before, not establishing a run game that you prided yourself on for the entire season. So overall,
I'm of the mindset of
just bad game.
You got to stick with what got you there. You know what I'm saying? That's my mindset. If it's 3 quarters in the Super Bowl and whatever you doing that got you there is not working, then you obviously got to go in the bag like you Houdini. You know what I'm saying? But you got to stick with what got you there. And I think the 49ers, once again, Kyle Shanahan panicked. It was a panic move. He even said he did not trust his team. He said, you know, Mahomes, they had 2 timeouts. That's the respect that they have for the Chiefs offense and that high-flying offense. We got to remember the 49ers defense was getting tired, so they panicked. They panicked. It was a panic move, and guess what? When you panic in those certain situations, you don't come away with the victory.